Cain refused the sacrifice. But I won't. I'm here to play more Soul River. It's me, Soul Reaver. Howdy, folks. Seize him. Now, you may be wondering how I got here. Well, it's a funny story. It all started about 1,000 years ago, or I guess 1,000 years from now. It's unsure. Time travel, you know. Well, I was here with my best friend, kinda dad, kinda gay lover, Cain. And I said, well, golly, Cain, look at these here wings. And he said, Ve Victus, your ass. And well, then I got thrown down a hole. Anyway, Reaving Souls just ain't what it used to be. But it's a living. One of the things about this game that I think it's important to remember is, like, if you were a video game that was not like Final Fantasy and you had more than 10 minutes of cutscenes, that was weird, right? Yes, this is post MGS1. But, this came out the same year as MGS2. Which is a weird thing to think about.
Ah, my wayward child returns.
Having unearthed more than you'd like, I suspect. What am I to make of these ruins that litter the land, and these images here in this chamber?
Merely the deceits of a failed civilization. You are being misled, Raziel. This ancient race hoped to manipulate the future with these scrawled misdirections. You must tread carefully. There are dark forces at work in this world, bent on subverting your true destiny.
I have no doubt of that. The question is, am I in their presence right now?
Your arrogance will spell your demise, Raziel. Deny my will, and the arc of your destiny will reach a sudden conclusion.
Your threats are unmoving. Even now, I'm beyond your reach.
My reach is longer than you realize. This is a very dangerous game you're playing, Raziel.
I just like the part where they talk. Future. The past. What does it all mean? And what manipulations might be taking place even now? As I backtrack to where I was going to... Anyone who thinks that is also old enough to know what this game is. Maybe. There's definitely some Ocarina influence, right? Yeah. Delicious. Yum, 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 yum.
Here it comes.
Is there a Soul Reaver 3? Yes, it's Defiance. Defiance is the third game. Well, fourth game. And then there's Blood Omen 2, which is canon, but it takes place in a different timeline. Blood Omen 2 is canon. But it's a game about like Kane's rise to power. I don't know. People really don't like Blood Omen 2. Which means I have to play it.
Over there.
Yeah, it's a prequel. Kind of, because it takes place after Blood Omen 1. It's a... It takes place several hundred years before Soul Reaver, but several hundred years after Blood Omen. This is the problem with time travel. Also, it's weird because this game is taking the timeline we are currently in. Timeline we are currently in is 30 years before the start of Blood Omen, and then I think we get to go back even 500 years earlier. Because time travel... Because the pillars were corrupted. Is Han alive in Blood Omen 2? Yes. Family. The only Blood Omen I have is my omen of my familia. Is Blood Omen 2 like the first game? No. It's not a top-down thing. It's a third-person action game, kind of like this, but bad. And when I tested it out, the fun part was, so, if you notice, when I look down at the camera, it has this weird it automatically scrolls down. And with both Blood Omen 2 and Defiance, there's something weird going on with the controller and the Y-axis for the camera. I need to go to the Light Forge. Now, the question is, how do I get to the Light Forge? Yeah. Like, you know, a lot of the legal back and forth between Silicon Knights and Crystal Dynamics is one of those things that, you know, is shrouded in secrecy. But it sounds like at one point there were multiple sequels to Blood Omen being made. Nah, Diag didn't have anything to do with Soul Reaver. I mean, Crystal Dynamics is owned by IDOS, So that's the other thing, right? And now they're owned by... Alright. Game facts time. Okay. Was Guardians of the Galaxy done by the Tomb Raider team? No. Let's see. Wait. Who made... Guardians of the Galaxy was Eidos Montreal, right? So, I think there probably must have been some overlap between Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, right? Because Shadow of the Tomb Raider was made by... Eidos Montreal. I don't know. I feel like there's someone in our Discord who could answer that question a lot better than I could, even though he doesn't work there anymore. But he probably still knows some of the people who worked on that game. And see, now we're in the Light Temple.
These murals left no room for doubt. These winged creatures were indeed the architects of the pillars. And while the images were difficult to decipher, the pillars appeared to banish or diminish their enemies somehow.
Yeah, that seems like a discussion people would have in the 90s. Like, don't get me wrong, this game is high melodrama, and I appreciate it for that. But also, 90% of this game and its quality is... Yeah, no, the 2000s were a bad time. But... Yeah, I want to be clear here. I don't know if saying this is one of the best stories ever told in a video game is, like, especially high praise, given what I think about video games. But as far as, like, a perfect combination of tone and writing and performance, this game is so much more coherent than anything else from this era, outside of maybe Metal Gear. Yeah, I'm saying I like angst. I like vengeful vampires. Yeah, that's a big maybe. And hey, whatever. I've stated before that I think MGS2 is good, which is a controversial statement amongst people with bad taste. Nah, this isn't full angst, though, because it also has a little bit of Shakespeare. Like, Inglet Shakespeare man, right? Yeah. Like, this game has enough respect for its characters and its audience. Yeah, I'm saying this is the Shakespeare of video games. I'm saying that these vampires making highfalutin statements. Yeah. I wonder how intentional, apparently a lot of Resident Evil 4's fun script moments were added by the English localization. I mean, in 400 years, human civilization won't exist. It's fine. I'm not gonna play Leisure Suit Larry. Although, after Zombie Pie played Rex Nebular, he's like, do I have to play Leisure Suit Larry next? And I said, no, you don't. You shouldn't, in fact. Leisure Suit Larry? Leisure Suit Larry. Sibilance. Sibilance. Leisure Suit Larry. He came on the plane from Spain. Sol, Reaver, Reeve, Solar, Sol, Reaver, Reeve, Solar. Metroid Dread is pretty good, yes. They made a 2D Metroid. Alright, I need to put another mirror there, I guess. Okay. I need to figure out how to get the Dark Reaver back, I guess. I gotta fill my Dark Soul with light. I've gotta fill my Dark Soul with light! Zoomers these days will never understand when video game voice acting was bad. Oh, so desu ka. Okay, do I need to chuck it? No. Alright, well. This has Hot Topic energy, excuse me. This is not angsty man game. And now I get the Dark Reaver back. Oh, you mean the video game equivalent of a Boomer comic? I mean, that already exists. That's just all of, like, the super racist horrible shit that's on Steam right now. Like the stuff that barely skirts the line from being defined as hate speech. Listen, video games used to be cool. They used to be about time-traveling vampires, defying fate, and talking about free will. And now they're about fucking girls with cuffs that are magic. And them going, oh, see, like, this game does not blink, right? It does not ever play its hand about how, like, overwrought it is, right? This game takes itself 100% seriously. Have I played Lords of Shadow? Yeah, no, I don't like Lords of Shadow. I think that game, I tried to give that game a genuine shot. And I think it's just kind of not good. It's like competent, but it's got this very restrictive camera, and it's very long. Like, why is one of those games 30 hours long? I mean, that's the same criticism I could lobby at modern God of War, so I guess. Yeah, I don't like Castlevania Lords of Shadow very much. And I hear the second one is bad. So, I don't know. I guess I'll play that for the geometric shape of dubious character action games coming soon if we get enough subs. You too, at home. Patrick Stewart isn't both, he's Zopek. You can call him. Beep him. If you want to reach him. And listen, I'm not gonna tell Patrick Stewart not to earn a paycheck, okay? Man's almost 90. Getting his. Some of my best friends are B games. No, it's a AAA video game. Like, mechanically, it's trying to be this God of War, but it's also trying to have this very, like, self-serious story because this is what the gamers want. Because it's 2012 and you aren't allowed to make Japanese video games that are fun. Unless you're Yakuza, which wasn't out. They weren't making Yakuza games in the West, or they weren't putting them out in the West. And hey, you know, at least you got Binary Domain and Vanquish out of that, right? what if we got Metal Wolf Chaos? Metal Wolf Chaos was what, 2003? 2004? I am the President of the United States, and I fight for my justice! Also, did Dan Reichert say that Twilight Princess was a B game? Listen, I don't... It's been some time since I have played the Twilight Princess. So, I could not tell you... Oh, that's... yeah. Listen, Star Wars The Force Unleashed is a fucking triple... Like, people's... Okay, this all goes back to someone on Reset Era saying that Infamous was trying to make the case that Infamous was a B game. And it's like, motherfucker, if you had said that to someone in 2009, like a PlayStation fan in 2009, they would have cut off your head. Like, no, Star Wars The Force Unleashed is not a good video game, which means... Oh, that's right, I should put Force Unleashed 2 on my dubious character action game wheel. But, like, that was Sony's first-party thing. That was their big first party offering before they realized that the way to get people to like video games was to Callisto Protocol B game, AAA budget, not quadruple A budget. No, but what you're actually saying is it's not a very good video game. That doesn't mean anything. Like, saying a game has B game energy just means this game isn't very good. Where do I put this? Like, in my mind, a B game is something made in, is like Greedfall. And it's not just a qualitative thing, it's a budgetary thing. It's games with these, like, AA budgets that are way too ambitious. Anyway, it's fine. It's fine. God damn it. Do I have to get the Dark Reaver again? Ugh. Is El Shaddai on your dubious character action list? No, but it is now. You, too, at home, could make such a thing happen. If you financially supported me via Twitch subscription. If we get 15 I beat Dante's Inferno. Not only do I have Dante's Inferno, I beat Dante's Inferno last year. Which was kind of the primary inspiration for that feature. To be fair, it's understandable given how forgettable most of Dante's Inferno is, other than the part where Satan has a giant dick. And I guess the part where you fight Dante's father. And also where you fight Cleopatra and Mark Antony. And Cleopatra's a weird monster lady with mouths on her boobs and... Oh, God, that game... That game might just get a write-up if it doesn't get a... Because I'm not going to replay it. I'm sorry. I don't think it's a very good game. I Zelda'd it. Sí, es Zeldad. That's a funny joke I made. See, it's funny because verdad means true in Espanol. But if I say Zeldad, it's like... It's a very funny wordplay. Very funny. I do appreciate the long corridor being used to hide a loading zone more than I appreciate the I'm gonna squeeze through this tight gap. Oh, God. I'm not allowed to do that. Ah! Now I got the light reaver. I got the light arrows. I gotta use them against Ganon.
I plunged the Reaver into the forge and imbued the blade with the elemental power of light. Thus armed, I now had the means to re-enter the stronghold and finally use Mobius's time-streaming device to accomplish my own ends.
Yes, my own ends. Definitely aren't being manipulated by being like, I'm not manipulated. I'm not owned as I slowly shrink into a vampire. Like, I think these levels are, you know, they are more rudimentary than a Zelda dungeon, right? But the puzzle is... Oh, now I can shoot the light gems. Like, this is one of those things that makes me come back and appreciate you know, like, I don't know, Majora's Mask. Because that game only has 4 dungeons, but they're pretty complex. That Stone Tower dungeon, probably one of the better Zelda dungeons. That's my hot take. I genuinely respect that Nintendo does not give a fuck. And has shown basically nothing. This is not me doing a goof. I love that that game is like 2 months away, and they have shown barely anything. Because they know. They're like, it's fucking Zelda, you stupid idiot. You know what game this is. And then you remember that they had to delay the Nintendo Direct in the UK because the Queen died and the game was called Tears of the Kingdom. And that's very funny. Also, it's $70. That's the other thing, the other thing I respect is the absolute gall of saying, hey, you want to pay $70 for this video game? We're Nintendo, fuck you. And that's probably going to lead to me getting those vouchers. Because even though I played like 12 hours of Breath of the Wild and then got like bored, or yeah, I know I'm gonna have to play this one just so that I can play it and be like, hello, it is me, the Zeitgeist. Even though I'm over here saying, know what the hottest release of May 2023 is? It's Age of Wonders 4. Age of Wonders 4 is the hottest release of video games in May of 2023. I should play Skyward Sword. I borrowed it from my brother-in-law with the express intent of streaming it. And that hasn't happened yet. But yeah, I could not tell you a thing about Darksiders' actual design of dungeons. 90% of what I remember about Darksiders is Liam O'Brien just being like, I am war.
Over there.
And then Mark Hamill's there, and he's just the Joker imp. I've never played Skyward Sword. Because when that game came out, I was very much like too cool for Nintendo games. The thing that made me appreciate Majora's Mask was actually going and playing the 3DS version is where Majora's Mask finally made sense to me. Because when you look at Majora's Mask as like it's this weird, sad, experimental game about the inevitability of death, it's good.
Show yourself, Cain.
Here, Raziel.
Everything is decided here. You cannot comprehend the magnitude, the rapture and the tragedy of this moment. And yet you must, if Nosgoth is to be dragged from the wreckage of its damnation. I understand only this, King. That you and Mobius have impelled me to this moment simply means I can trust neither of you. I don't know who's pulling the strings, but it no longer matters, because I'm cutting them. I set my own course from here. If it were only that simple. Your fatalism is tiresome, Kane. And profoundly ingrained, Raziel. You must understand. Our presence here doesn't alter history. You and I meet here because we are compelled to. We have always met here. History is irredeemable. Drop a stone into a rushing river. The current simply courses around it and flows on as if the obstruction were never there. You and I are pebbles, Raziel, and have even less hope of disrupting the time stream. The continuum of history is simply too strong, too resilient. Except, then how do we explain William here? The beloved boy king turned tyrant. In my youth, I witnessed William's rise to power and his transformation into the nemesis who laid waste to Nosgoth. Keep your distance, King. Years later, I stumble upon a chance to journey back in history, unaware that the entire affair has been carefully orchestrated by Mobius. In my wisdom, I seize this opportunity to murder the young king before he can ravage Nosgoth, and thereby provide the catalyst Mobius needs to ignite a genocidal war against our race. I warn you, no further. This one reckless act unravels the skein of history. The nemesis never becomes the nemesis. William dies a martyred saint. I, the vampire assassin, become the author of my own species' extinction, and Mobius profits from it all. I destroyed a tyrant only to create one far worse. But how can it be so? How, if history is immutable? The answer is here in this room, Raziel. Mobius propelled William and me together, but ensured first that we were both armed with the Soul Reaver. The Reaver is the key. Two incarnations of the blade meet in time and space. A paradox is created, a temporal distortion powerful enough to derail history. Is this your sorcery? Not mine, Raziel. Yours. You have nothing to fear from me, Raziel. You hold all of the cards. Then perhaps I should test your sincerity. If what you say is true, you should be terrified. I could kill you here and now. And so you do, Raziel. What's happening? We're hurtling towards our destinies, Raziel. What you feel is the pull of history rushing to meet us. This is where history and destiny collide. If you truly believe in free will, Raziel, now is the time to prove it. Kill me now, and we both become pawns of history, dragged down the path of an artificial...
Yeah!
I was ordained to assume the role of Balance Guardian in Nosgoth, while you were destined to be its savior. But the map of my fate was redrawn by Mobius, and so in turn was yours. This is madness! Fight it, Raziel. This moment does not have to be an ending. It can become a prelude. I can't. You can, Raziel. Oh, look inside.
These two should kiss.
That it is so. You have the power to reshape our inevitable futures.
yeah! Yeah, that's Kane.
What is this?
History abhors a paradox, Raziel. Even now, the time stream strains to divert itself, finding its old course blocked by your refusal to destroy me. The future is reshuffling itself to accommodate your monumental decision.
Snake, you created a time paradox!
Ourselves, Raziel, and reclaim our intended destinies. It may yet be possible for me to assume my role as Balance Guardian and return the pillars to their rightful inheritors.
To the vampires. And this is the destiny you have urged me to discover. I don't know what game you and Mobius are playing, Kane, but I refuse to be your pawn. Unlike you, I still revere whatever shred of humanity I've managed to preserve.
I'm not owned!
You will not use me as the instrument of your messianic delusions.
Very well, Raziel. I'll not ask you to trust me. Your truths are for you to discover alone.
Humble words for one who presumes to teach me a lesson at every turn.
Then continue your journey and learn your own lessons, Raziel. Remember, Mobius led you here, but you walk away unfettered. A champion of free will and conqueror of false histories. There is much more for you to unearth, if you have the heart for the truth and the will to see it.
Well, that was close.
Seize him!
The only thing that can alter the course of history is the Soul Reaver. Yes.
Ah, yes. I like that look on your face, Mobius. You really don't know what to do now, do you, old man? Here you are, caught without your damn staff. And I suspect things aren't progressing quite as you'd hoped. You're not used to the fly turning to confront you in your web, are you?
Kane's devious influence has poisoned your mind, Raziel. Now you see betrayal everywhere, even in your closest allies.
We were never allies, Mobius. Conspirators, perhaps. Briefly.
Why did you not kill Kane when you had the chance? He was at your mercy.
Precisely. I had a choice, and I chose mercy. And now I know your sordid little secret. The significance of that displacement I felt when the two Reavers came together. Strangely enough, I was enlightened by the devious Kane, not by you. In fact, I've learned much more than you counted on. I understand now how you've tried to manipulate all of history for your own personal gain. But now all your little schemes are whirling in ruin around you, aren't they? All because I chose to exert my will for once, rather than obey the demands of sorcerers and spirits and demons, all singing the same tiresome refrain, "Kill Kane." I'm setting my own path from here, Mobius. I intend to discover the truth.
Fuck you, Dad.
of all this.
But you condemn us all with this impetuous act.
Hardly impetuous. It took all the will I could muster. Has my refusal to kill Kane reshuffled your carefully stacked deck of cards?
You really think that you're exercising your free will, Raziel? You're simply Kane's servant.
I do not serve Kane. I merely did not kill him.
Raziel, do not forget your purpose here. You are destined to be the savior of Nosgoth.
Oh, I'm sick of hearing that particular phrase. As for saving Nosgoth, so far I see precious little reason to bother. And I'll choose my own purpose from here on out, Time Streamer. Right now, I choose to manipulate you for a change. Go. In there.
What are you doing?
Come now, Mobius. You're a cunning serpent. You'll piece it together, I imagine. This error is of no further use to me. You will operate this device to provide me passage. I want to see the world in a simpler time, before the Sarafan began their crusade.
And what about Kane? You're leaving your core behind.
You kill him if it's so damned important.
You need only touch the two poles of the switch, and the device will transport you. But I urge you to reconsider.
You've lost your powers of persuasion, old man. Rot here and forget me.
Yeah! Oh, God.
Even as I emerged from that infernal time-streaming chamber,
He sent you into the future.
I suspected treachery. The stronghold was vacant, derelict, abandoned.
You got tricked, you You silly Billy. You doofus? Galoofus? Oh, whoops. Now you're fighting monsters with knives for arms. This entire game is just Raziel going, I'm not owned! I'm not owned! You don't owe me! Cain, you do not own me! You're not my dad! I am my own dad! As the currents of time flowed around me, I realized he was my dad. How dare you? How dare you? You're not my dad, spam bot. Raziel just being like, you can't trick me, I'm not trickable, and then he gets tricked and he's like, such treachery? What treachery is this? All these people I don't trust doing things that are untrustworthy? Guy walking into these reverse psychology You are not my dad, Cain. I'm my own man, vampire.
If I had any doubts about the era I now occupied, this grotesque tableau certainly eliminated them. For here was Mobius, long since murdered by Cain, lionized and beatified as the martyred leader of his bloodthirsty crusade. And if I required further evidence, I needed only to behold the gruesome trophy Mobius held aloft. The severed head of Vorador. The final triumphant kill of Mobius's cutthroat mob. His execution marked the annihilation of the vampires. Far from channeling me into Nosgoth's past, Mobius had propelled me over a century to its ghastly future. The intent behind this little detour was unmistakable. Having failed to make me his obedient assassin, Mobius intended to keep me ignorant of my true destiny, which clearly lay in Nosgoth's past. While his deception only reinforced my purpose, Mobius had effectively stranded me here. This left me no course but to explore the era I now occupied and see what changes the century had wrought following Cain's ill-fated decision. Perhaps time had cleared a path for me into the mountains, where I might unearth more clues behind the mystery of Janos Audron.
Resquiat and Pace. That's what Assassin's Creed man says.
Raziel.
What pathetic charade is this now, Mobius?
No charade, Raziel. Only the entreaties of this martyred spirit.
Your pleas mean nothing to me after all your deceit. You have propelled me into Nosgoth's future, Mobius, and left me stranded here.
I am truly sorry, Raziel, but it was necessary. Consider it the last valiant act of a doomed man. You have strayed from your purpose, and now behold the result. Gaze upon the wasteland you and Cain offered together.
I fail to see how I'm responsible.
You spared Cain, and by doing so, you have released a multitude of horrors upon this world. I can accept that Cain has murdered me, Raziel. As the Time Guardian, I foresaw that instant long before it occurred, and I take some small comfort in the fact that Cain remains the sole survivor of his vile breed. But you have single-handedly made my sacrifice meaningless.
Your argument is disingenuous, Time Streamer. I cannot see how killing or sparing Cain's future self would alter these events. This wasteland was created by Cain's original refusal of the Pillars. Amidst all these twists and turns, that event has never changed. You are cunning, Mobius. I think you've gotten tangled in your own web.
As Cain clings to his precious seat of power, the pillars sink into a mire of decay, dragging all of Nosgoth down with them.
I don't think this has anything to do with the Pillars, or Cain's failure to sacrifice himself. I think you're simply afraid, because you don't know what he's up to. He's a wild card, isn't he? And you don't want his influence in your game. Which is why you wanted me to eliminate him. Well, now that he survived, you have no idea what's coming, do you? Maybe, for the first time in your entire life. You're terrified that he may have truly found a third option out of the dilemma you orchestrated for him.
Cain's lies have addled your mind. Leave this place and trouble my spirit no more.
If you even are a spirit, you've forgotten. I have a way to tell for sure. If you're willing to risk it. I didn't think so.
Yeah!
You lose.
I love video games. Just being like, I'm not owned, I'm not owned. Hey, Raziel, don't do the thing I'm telling you to do. Okay. Oh, fuck, I've been tricked. I can't believe that by doing the thing he told me not to do, I was doing the thing he wanted me to do. Look, now it's all rainy and decayed. I'm not fighting them because I don't need to. And the fighting is just bonk them on the head over and over again. Come on, stop blocking. Nothing personal, kid.
These were the pillars so familiar to my blighted eyes. But now that I had begun to learn their true significance, I regarded the pillars' destruction with a new, enlightened sense of horror. And I questioned now whether Cain's simple refusal, his mere ambition, could truly have caused such devastation. I felt that some darker influence was at work here. As I approached, I discerned the spirit of Ariel, bound here now for more than a century.
Forever am I bound, hope abandoned, my spirit tethered to this place. What destroyed the circle could not touch me, for I was newly dead and beyond harm's reach. I alone was spared the descent into madness, and Cain alone was spared the pain of death. When Nepraptor's poison seized Cain even in the safety of the womb, much more than just his destiny was lost. All of Nosgoth lost balance. Consider us now, both of us less than we once were. I, pure but insubstantial, and Cain, terribly real, but corrupted.
Your imprisonment here has deranged you, Spirit. You fixate on Cain because you believe he is the tether that binds you here. But we both know he is not the author of your agony. The pillars were subverted by dark forces, invited by the Guardians themselves. The more I learn of your circle, the more I see a tangle of nested manipulations.
Cain handed them their victory. They sought to topple the pillars, and he was their willing instrument.
Or was he their unwilling pawn? Would it blunt your wrath to know that Cain's dilemma was calculated to bring the pillars down, regardless of the choice he made? And that the devastation would have been even greater had he chosen the path you would prescribe for him?
You are a subtle, deceitful creature. But your clever arguments do not absolve Cain. He must die for the pillars to be restored. There is no other way.
Then consider this more ominous possibility. What if Cain's death does not restore the pillars? Consider that it may simply be too late, that this world may be beyond redemption, and that you may be bound here eternally.
Why do you hound me, demon? You can see that I am captive here. Show me some mercy.
Like the mercy you showed your fellow Guardians when you set Cain on them? Or the mercy you showed Cain when you kept him ignorant of his destiny while you used him as the scourge of the Circle? Or perhaps like the mercy you showed your beloved Naprapta when you made him Cain's first kill?
You are cruel. Why do you torment me?
Yeah.
I'm merely looking for answers, Ariel. Ah, very well. I'll leave you in peace. But know this about you and this purgatory from which you long to escape. You're merely at the threshold.
Oh, video games are good. You're not my dad, ghost lady. You're the one being manipulated. I'm not owned. You're... Oh, God. Raziel being like, you know, if you act like everyone's out to get you, it might eventually become true. But perhaps they were fated. Fuck. Well, let's see how much progress we lost. You're telling me this video game from 2001? Ugh. That's that entire cutscene. Could be worse. I could have lost an hour of progress playing Sonic 06. I mean, that's the question, isn't it? I think it's weird that, like, the elemental reavers don't really do anything except in very specific prescribed situations. Like, at some point, they're just keys.
These were the pillars so familiar to my blighted eyes. But now that I had begun to learn
I
their
cannot
true
skip
significance,
this.
I regarded the pillars' destruction with a new, enlightened sense of horror. And I questioned
Yes, they are
whether
glowing
Cain's
keys.
simple refusal, his mere ambition, could truly have caused such devastation. I felt that some darker influence was at work here. As I approached, I discerned the spirit of Ariel, bound here now for more than a century.
Forever am I bound, hope abandoned, my spirit tethered to this place. What destroyed the circle could not touch me, for I was newly dead and beyond harm's reach. I alone was spared the descent into madness, and Cain alone was spared the pain of death. When Napraptor's poison seized Cain even in the safety of the womb, much more than just his destiny was lost. All of Nosgoth lost balance. Consider us now, both of us less than we once were. I, pure but insubstantial, and Cain, terribly real, but corrupted.
Your imprisonment here has deranged you, spirit. You fixate on Cain because you believe he is the tether that binds you here. But we both know he is not the author of your agony. The pillars were subverted by dark forces, invited by the Guardians themselves. The more I learn of your circle, the more I see a tangle of nested manipulations.
Cain handed them their victory. They sought to topple the pillars, and he was their willing instrument.
Or was he their unwilling pawn? Would it blunt your wrath to know that Cain's dilemma was calculated to bring the pillars down, regardless of the choice he made? And that the devastation would have been even greater had he chosen the path you would prescribe for him?
You are a subtle, deceitful creature. But your clever arguments do not absolve Cain. He must die for the pillars to be restored. There is no other way.
Then consider this more ominous possibility. What if Cain's death does not restore the pillars? Consider that it may simply be too late, that this world may be beyond redemption, and that you may be bound here eternally.
This game feels scaled down.
Why do you hound me, demon?
And
You can see that I am captive here.
much
Show me
more
some mercy.
Like the mercy you showed your fellow Guardians when you set Cain on them? Or the mercy you showed Cain when you kept him ignorant of his destiny while you used him as the scourge of the Circle? Or perhaps like the mercy you showed your beloved Napraptor?
the first game, you can tell where they cut out a bunch of stuff.
You are cruel.
And this game feels
Why
like
do you
the
torment
counterweight
me?
to that, where
I'm merely
they
looking for
they
answers.
very much made a focused, scaled down thing.
Very well. I'll leave you in peace. But know this about you and this purgatory from which you long to escape. You're merely at the threshold.
All right. Joke's on you, nerd. I think I like this game more than the first one because I'm not spending half of my runtime pushing blocks. Instead, I'm spending half of the runtime. Yeah, I think that's fair. Like, once again, my thoughts on this game are the same as my thoughts on Blood Omen and Soul Reaver 1. Which is to say, these games are carried by tone and writing and performance. As video games, they're mostly just fine. Like, they have a lot of cool concepts that are used in service of what is a pretty standard of the time. But also, yeah. I know, for a game from 01, this is still very playable.
Raziel, the failed assassin. You had Cain at your mercy, but lacked the courage to fulfill the act. And now you see the wasteland wrought by the tyrant's hand, by his selfish decision to preserve his own life, even when it meant sacrificing the whole world. This is the fate of Nosgoth, as long as Cain remains alive.
An ironic condemnation, given this guilty sin. One would think you'd torn down the pillars single-handedly. What are you trying to obliterate as you drag your loathsome body through this chamber? And why, as Nosgoth descends into madness and misery, do you appear to thrive? Things in this world, I am learning, are rarely what they seem. You, apparently, are no exception.
I am the engine of life, the source of Nosgoth's very existence. I am the hub of the wheel, the origin of all life, the devourer of death.
Or maybe you're just hungry. Could it be as simple as that? Wouldn't that be poetic irony? The great adversary of the vampires turns out to be the biggest parasite of them all.
Do not test my patience, Raziel. I made you, and I will unmake you if I become so inclined.
As your agent, I am beyond death.
There are fates worse than death, Raziel.
Oh, I see you now as you truly are. A cancer. A spooling parasite burrowed deep in the heart of this world.
Go now. Play out your pitiful rebellion and take your place among the destroyed, the used, and the damned.
Yeah!
You are mine for eternity. You have always been, and will always be, my soul reaver.
Alright, maybe let's call it here. We've made progress. We've learned a thing or two about Raziel and his capacity for getting tricked over and over and over again and being like, I'm doing this on my own. You can't tell me what to do. And then it's like, actually, I wanted you to do that. Thanks everyone for watching. Remember, when the giant tentacle monster tells you, you're my soul reaver, that means they like you. Bye.